Hello, painting class. Let's do the neutrals painting practice. This is where we're going to mix quite a few different browns. So here I've got my page set up. Go ahead, pause the video, and set your page up the same way. We want 2 columns of 3 and then a box of 9. So 1, 2, 3 by 1, 2, 3. I'm assuming you paused. After that, set up your palette for your paint. Basically, we need the full rainbow here, plus white and black. So I've got red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple, and then I've got black and white. You don't need a whole lot of most of these. They're going to go pretty far, so just a little bit of each. And I mixed my own colors, so you can see here that the orange, green, and purple have been mixed. So first thing that you're going to do is you're going to have to make a decision, because we're going to have 3 pairs of complements. And one of our pairs is going to be extended out to add white and black to the mixtures. So first thing I can do right now is just say, okay, this column is going to have white added, so plus white. And this column that's last is going to have black added to it, so plus black. And complements, remember, are on opposite sides of the color wheel. So I'm going to have purple and yellow, green and red, and orange and blue. For the big one, you'll want to use whatever color pair has the most paint, basically, because you're going to be using more of it to mix the other ones. So for me, I think I'm actually going to go with red and green because I have more of those than I have of the others. All right, so red and green over here. So red on one side, green on the other, and then the other ones I can just put down blue and orange, and then purple and yellow. Okay, so I'm ready. So I'm going to take my colors. I'm going to take my purple, and I'm going to actually cheat it just a tiny bit and add a little tiny bit of white to it, because I want it to actually be purple. I don't want it to be this dark, 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 almost black color. And looking at it, I actually need a bit more red. It's too blue. So always adjust your colors as needed until they look how they're supposed to. Don't just say, well, I mixed them, it's fine, we're done. You're not done until you got everything. Okay, that's a little better. Okay, so I've got my purple. I don't want to add too much white to it because that's going to shift it into a weird pastel range if I'm not careful, but just a little bit. All right, so I've got my purple, and I'm going to take a teeny tiny, not very much, just a teeny tiny amount of yellow and mix it in. And when I do, it's actually a lot of yellow, I'm noticing. But when I do and I start mixing it in, I can see that it is shifting towards actually a green color for me. So knowing that, add a little more red because I want it to go towards brown, not green. There we go. So I'm mixing it in. And now I have sort of this like medium brown. And that's what's going to go here in the middle. So I want a medium brown. And it might, if you've mixed your colors like perfectly, it might actually look more gray than brown. But that's hard to do. So if you just have brown, good. If you're more gray, hey, impressive. Let me see if I can brighten this a little bit. So it's just kind of this muddy brown. And now I'm going to take a part of this color and mix just a little bit more purple into it because I want it to be purplier. And that's what will go up here. So it's still a bit brown, but it's more purple. It's not a straight brown. More purple. And we're focusing not on cleanliness per se, we're focusing on trying to get our colors right. So here, even on my bad camera, you can see how more of a neutral brown this is, and this one's more purple. And then on the other end, I'm going to take my yellow, just kind of wiggle around because I've got some purple already on there. That'll go in the bottom. Voila. So we're mixing neutrals because neutrals are going to make up most of your painting. Just most of your painting should be neutral colors, and mixing little tiny variations on your neutrals, it's going to give your painting a lot more life and energy than if you just have brown out of the tube. So next step is blue and orange. Same process. I'm going to take a bit of my blue and mix it into the orange. And here, because I didn't add a whole lot of the orange yet, I can go in and add that to the bottom section towards the blue. So it almost looks like an emerald green with the way these colors are mixing. And what that is telling me is that I actually have more yellow in this orange than red. So I'm going to add just a touch more red, just a touch, to calm that down slightly. There we go. Okay, so then I'm going to take the part that I mixed a bit of blue in, and I'm going to keep adding a little bit more orange, a little bit more orange, until I get kind of this medium brown. So adjusting a little bit, because I want it to be as neutral as possible. I don't want it to be orange, I don't want it to be blue, I want it to be brown. So now I've got this medium brown in there, and then I can go back in and I can add more orange into the mixture. So it's just a slightly desaturated orange, and that goes in the top area. So an orangey brown, a blue brown, a purple brown, a yellowy brown, and then the medium brown. And even just here alone, look at this. Look at how different they are depending on the complements you choose to mix your browns. Like, that decision alone can influence your whole painting. So then last, I'm going to work on red and green. So I've got my red, I've got my green. I'm going to take a bit of red and start mixing it into the corner of the green here. Let's see if I can keep this on camera. So I'm just trying to get just a tiny bit of green, not a whole lot, because I want this to be in the top square. There we go. So it's still red, it's just a more neutral red. Starting to lean towards brown. And I'm smoothing it out so I can see it clearly when I'm color picking later. And this is something you can keep. This is something You can look up and keep anytime you need to paint a certain color later. You can get a better idea if it's something you don't remember very well without the chart. Okay, so going back in, mixing a bit more green in. And again, that goal is to get just kind of a medium, totally neutral brown, not too red, not too green, somewhere just in the center. I think I got it. There we go. And then I finish off by adding a little more green. So it's a green brown, a greenish brown. Still mostly green. And that goes down here. All right. Just let me shift my colors again so you can see. There you go. Now we've got these two columns to finish. And basically what I want you to see is, okay, just some additional color mixing. What happens if I take this reddish brown? I'm going to grab my red. I'm going to bring it over to the green. And mix just that tiny bit of green in there. Not a lot, just a little to start with. And then I want to take some white and brighten it. So we're going for a light reddish green. Or a reddish brown. And then I put that in the white territory. It's like a mauve. A good lipstick color. Okay. So then I take a little more green because I'm going down to the middle one. I want that neutral brown. Bring it up here. Add in that white. And that goes here. I got a little too much green in there, so I'm going to add a little tiny bit more red. And I want a neutral brown. Slightly lighter. There we go. So this practice is really about making adjustments and changes. I'm also noticing that this isn't quite as bright as I want it, so I'm going to add even more white to it. I want it to be quite a bit lighter. I want it to be very different from that first square. Okay, and then last but not least, we've got our green brown. So I'm going to add some green over here. That might be a little too green, so I'm going to take just a touch of red. Okay, there we go. I'm going to add some more white. And see what it gives me. All right. So very soft. Not quite mint green, but almost like a pistachio green. It's very pretty. Beautiful. So then I'm sure you can guess by now what we're going to do is we're going to take our reddish brown, and we're going to add a touch of black to it. We're going to take our medium brown, we're going to add a touch of black to it, and then we're going to take our green brown and add a touch of black to it. So same process. I'm going to grab my red, add a touch of green to it. Actually, I added too much green, so now I'm in neutral brown, which is okay. That means I can just go over here, grab my brown. Okay. For the black, only just use a teeny tiny amount. You don't need a lot. a little bit. It'll go dark too fast if you add too much. So I can actually add a little more. You can always add more, but you can't, take it away super easy. There we go. Oh, that was my neutral brown. Whoops, I was painting in the wrong spot. That's okay, I can paint over it. Okay. Just a really dark, rich brown there. Let's see if we can shift my screen again. There we go. Then I'm going to grab my green, grab a bit more red. So the greenish brown. And add a bit of black. There we go. So this is a very like deep olive green. And you can see even with the bad camera how cool this one looks compared to this one. And cool as in like cooler temperature. And so last but not least, I'm going to take my green, mix it with a fair amount of red because this is supposed to be the reddish one. And then add a touch of black. Notice that when I'm mixing, I kind of dab it off to the side first, just to get a better feel for how much I need to mix in, and I can just do a tiny bit and then add a little more if I need to. This one is a darker reddish brown, like so. And so here you can see the finished piece. And I'm just going to remind you again, you want to go for equal mixtures and adjustments and fine tune it so that it looks as best as it can. And then if you have more time later, you want to try adding white and black to the orange and blue mixtures, the purple and yellow mixtures. I super encourage you to do so just to see how many different variations you can get, which is pretty fun. I'll see you later. Bye.